Hey, I want to talk to you about the hidden danger that freelancers don't see. And by not seeing this, it could actually kill your clients. And that's obviously not what we want. So let's dig in. Freelancers, service based business owners, solopreneurs, going alone, doing everything by themselves. If you, that's you, I invite you to grab my book. It's Work Smarter, Think Harder, the Entrepreneur's Guide to Doubling Your Revenue Working Half the Time. And some of the things we're going to talk about in the video, I'll mention the book again because it'll help you through this. But it's Saturday morning, and I wake up, throat's a little scratchy. I went to bed with a scratchy, and my wife asked me, how it was. I said, it's all right. So I'm going to go out here and mow, and it'll probably aggravate it, but it'll be all right. She said, well, do you want me to mow? I said, well, no, of course I don't want you to mow them. I'll go mow. So I had all planned out. My daughter had a volleyball game at 1 or so, and so I was going to go see her. And then I was going to go mow before that, get a little work done early in the morning. So that's what I did. I got up, got some work done, and then I went out and mowed. My wife and daughter actually went to a sign language event. They've been learning sign language and went to a sign language event Saturday morning. So while they're out doing that, I was mowing. While I was mowing, the actual plate on the back of my mower came off. It's like a diagram that shows how you put the belt on or whatever. But anyway, so I saw it fall off. So the more I get, I'm like, well, where does this thing even go? So I remember seeing it on the mower anywhere. So I'm like looking where the belt's at, thinking maybe it's some sort of a cover, protective thing on the belts on the inside. And I can't find it. So I spend like 30 minutes looking around, looking at the manual, trying to figure out where the thing's at. And I realized it's actually on the very, very back. And I saw there's, as long as they don't like back over anything, that shouldn't be an issue to continue to mow, even though the plate fell off. So anyway, I continued to mow. But losing that half an hour kept me from actually finishing the entire yard. So I just really got my front yard done, but I still had my backyard to do, side and backyard. So anyway, went in, jumped in the shower, came out, got in the car, headed down the road to volleyball. And anyway, I'm heading down the road, and all of a sudden I see this guy coming off a side street, and I'm like, he is moving at a pretty good space. He's not slowing down. Yeah, he's not going to stop, and he has a stop sign. And so anyway, so once I realized he's not going to stop, I yanked the wheel to the left. It's a 2-lane highway, but right there, it was actually has like a little center lane and a turn lane there. So I kind of went. There's nothing coming the opposite direction, fortunately. But so since I saw that, I went ahead and jerked it over. I only jerked it over, kind of to the center lane. Not that I was necessarily trying to keep him between there. It's just about as far as I got. But then he did nail me. So he hit me in the back. He hit me in the quarter panel, the passenger side quarter panel, right behind the back tire. I didn't know where he hit me initially. So, but he hit me, and my car spun. And as soon as it spun, it lifted off. So I guess the tires caught traction or whatever. So it lifted, and I'm airborne. And I'm like, this is not good. So once I realized I was airborne, I'm not going to be able to control anything. I just went limp. So I closed my eyes and I went limp, because I always heard about people that were drunk driving or getting in an accident and they're drunk, and they always walk out without a scratch, right? And I said, well, it's probably just because they're, loose and, not stressed about the whatever. It's like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So that's what I tried to do. I just tried to go limp. And anyway, so I had my eyes closed. And anyway, so sure enough, I'm in there. Land, and I'm rolling and I'm rolling. I have no idea how many times I'm rolling, but it feels like I'm rolling forever. And then I land on the hood and I slide on the hood a ways. And I remember just thinking, like, is this thing ever going to stop sliding? Just, and so everything's just kind of slowed down at that point. But when it occurred, I was like, well, whatever's going to happens, it's going to happen. That's why I said just kind of went limp and did that. But, so once car came to a stop, I opened my eyes, and there's just glass everywhere, windshield shattered. Like I said, I'm upside down. The seatbelt is keeping me suspended in the air. My backside's not even touching the seat at this point. And so people were there right away. People came up, asked me if I was all right. I said, I think so. I said, my foot's hurting, my shoulder's hurting, my head's hurting, but I was a little concerned, sort of embarrassing, but I was a little concerned that my head was like drug across the pavement or something. And just the adrenaline was, keeping me from realizing that, my brains were splattered across the pavement. But just because there was a pain up there, and I didn't quite know what it was. After sitting there for a minute, I kind of realized, it's because of all the broken glass. So my head was basically rubbing up against the broken glass. I mean, it was hurt in general because I think I probably hit the side window, is my guess. I don't know that for sure, but I mean, I definitely hit something because it's, so I'm assuming it was a side window. But then right then, the immediate pain I was feeling was just like the glass, glass shards and stuff that was rubbing on the top of my head. So, anyway, laying there again, just people are just hanging there, and people coming in, asking me if I'm all right. I hear somebody on the phone with the police, and tell them I'm the only one in the car. People ask me if I'm the only one in the car and stuff, and so anyway, so I grabbed my phone and I text my wife that I wrecked. I actually text her wrecked, but instead of WRECKED, instead of WRECKED, I had a J instead of a K. So the autocorrect didn't do that for me. So anyway, I sent it, and she called me. She's like, "What's going on?" Because she was obviously at the game with my daughter. Well, of course, they hadn't started yet, because I still probably had 15 minutes to get there or whatever, plenty of time. But so anyway, I told her, I said, I wrecked, got her in the stop sign. And so I said, actually, I'm upside down. I said, but I'm fine, so you just hang out where you are with the game, and, we'll get it. So, of course, she wasn't going to do that. And it's probably silly for me to even say it, but that's just what my thinking was. Like, well, I'm good. I mean, people are here, they're going to get me out. And, the fact that I'm sitting here talking is probably pretty good evidence. In fact, people are sticking their head in, and nobody was, gasping of, some sort of, brains out in the road or anything. I figured I was probably fine. So either way, after a little bit of time, not very long at all, firemen get there first, and they come in the car. There's actually somebody, I couldn't see them because they were behind me, and I couldn't really turn. It was hurting my neck if I turned. So although my neck and stuff is fine, it's just I couldn't, just with the position I was in, I really couldn't do anything then. But anyway, so somebody opened the door. I'm assuming it was one of the firemen. He opened the door, and of course it's just scraping against the pavement as it's, because it's upside down, right? So it's opening the door and it's just scraping against the pavement. And I'm like, "Hey man, you're not messing up my door, are you?" Say it just like that with a chuckle at the end. And he's like, "Well, yeah, I think your car's totaled." I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding." Anyway, so I have a weird sense of humor, I guess. But at the same time, I could tell everybody was really concerned, and I was like, I'm trying to let them know, hey, it's all good. The actual person that hit me came up and apologized to me. So that was good. But they end up cutting. They said, "We're going to cut your seatbelt." I said, "Well, if you cut my seatbelt, like I'm going to fall. Like there's nothing supporting me. Like I'm literally hanging here, and just this, the shoulder strap. Of course, my shoulder's really hurting at this point. So the shoulder strap's the only thing that's holding me in." So they said, "Yeah, we'll get you." So they put a neck brace on me, and I think they probably put something behind my back. Not 100% sure. I don't remember, but I know they kind of, people holding me, and they cut the thing, and I was able to kind of get, my feet under me and slide out of the door, and they put me on a stretcher. And they, of course, asked what it hurt, and I said it was just my head and my shoulder and my left foot, because my left foot, I'm assuming I kicked the dash or something of that nature when I wrecked. So anyway, so they take me on the stretcher and roll me over to the ambulance and go put me in the ambulance. As they roll me into the ambulance, I see my wife. So she came, and so there she was, and I could tell she had this look of absolute fear on her, And I was like, I'm good. I'm all right. I said, I said, it's my wife, let her up. So she's about ready to come up, I think, in the back of the ambulance, and the paramedic EMT told her, well, we have a door over here. So anyway, she came in the door, and we're there. And of course, my face, I'm still just covered in glass at this point. I'm a little concerned that glass is going to get in my eye because like I can just feel it, like my eyebrows and just, just everywhere. So they're answering questions, whatever. Asked the EMT if she would, knock the glass off my face at least. So anyway, so I closed my eyes and did that, and I felt better after that. They took off my shoe to see what was going on with my foot. Fortunately, didn't have like a bone or sticking out or anything like that. It was weird. I did actually have like an abrasion, like a skin abrasion on the top of the foot. Of course, I'm in socks and shoes, but obviously I must have kicked the dash. And sure enough, that night, I wake up and my foot's hurting, and so more than just like the top part that was hurting, like all around the arch area was hurting. But it wasn't hurting to the point that was actually keeping me up. So what's amazing, as you can see, like I don't have really any scratches on me. I got a few little scratches on top of my head, like I said, where the glass was at, but it's nothing major there. Again, I do have a lump on my head where I hit my head, but it seems to be fine. When I was at the ER, they did a CT scan, and everything seemed to come back normal there. So that's good. As normal as it can anyway, with me. But yeah, of course they poked all around my shoulder. This one particular thing was really sensitive. But doctor said or actually physician's assistant said that was, expected with the seatbelt right there, but didn't seem like I had any kind of broken bones or anything. So they didn't do any x-rays. And again, I wouldn't have assumed I'd had any broken bones. Definitely didn't feel like it. But anyway, I was there about 5 hours and was able to come home, and just walking away. I'll actually throw again, the thumbnail actually had the car upside down, but I'll have a couple images that I will splice in here at some point. Maybe I've already have, or I'm about ready to, but you will see the images of the car. And again, I don't know how many times it rolled. At least 1.5, if not 2.5 or more. I really don't know, but you can just kind of see the impact. It appears we went, so Monday morning, that was Saturday. Monday morning, I actually went to the tow lot where they towed the car, and the actual top over the driver side, like right where the windshield meets the top of the car on the driver's side, like it was really bashed in. Again, I'll show an image here of that, but it made me realize just like how close, it was for me not to make it out. Again, I was already amazed and very grateful, very blessed. On the way to the ER, the EMT, she said, "Oh, you're very lucky." I said, "Well, a little more than lucky. I'm blessed. That's for sure." And because there's no doubt in my mind that God protected me, and he's definitely good. But he had been good even if I died. He'd been good even if I was laid up in the hospital for days, weeks, months, or even years. So regardless of the outcome of me physically, he'd been good. But definitely, good for me for now, and definitely good for my family. But it was when I was thinking about that, and the whole reason why I'm making this video is because when I started thinking about the fact, okay, well, I could have been gone. Like that could have been that. And fortunately, wife and family would have been taken care of financially with, life insurance and all that. And most things are straightened, out from kind of knowing where things are financially and stuff. There's a couple holes that I realized I need to plug there. But then I shifted thinking about the business side of things. And I realized I have one client in particular that would be very, they'd be in dire straits actually if I didn't make it, because it's all custom software project that I created. I have the source code all up on GitHub. It's in a private repository that I have access to, but they don't have access to it. Right? So they don't have access to this repository. I do, because it's all my custom software, and then I built their custom stuff kind of on top of it. So it's one of these things that they could totally have access to it should something happen to me, but we really never set anything like that up, right? So So I'm not sure about the camera thing, why it shut off there, but hopefully my other camera's going and we can just splice this thing together. But what I realized was that my client would have really been hurting, and their business probably would have, uh, he was just getting to the point of getting traction and getting this stuff and had outlaid, a decent amount of funds to get this thing going. And if I wasn't around to keep the site rolling, then, he would have had a hard time transitioning this off to somebody else. So that made me realize that while I might have these things all nice and backed up and everything else, if other people don't know about it, then it's not helpful. So in my book, I talk about delegation. I talk about, automations. I talk about having systems in place. But I really hadn't considered, because a lot of times I rely a lot on, software tools and even AI and things, and not as much on people. But there has to be something in place should something major like this happen, so that your clients are able to pick up the pieces if you're no longer able to help them. Now, a lot of the stuff I'm doing these days, these little one-off stuff with automations and things, they are more, you know, a lot more self-contained. They don't take as long, versus the stuff I was doing in the past. All these custom software projects would take, months on end. So it's a little bit different because it's not my custom software that's kind of pinning all this and running all this. But still, it opened my eyes to the fact that, I had some holes there. And so, unfortunately, it took me hanging upside down in a car that had been wrecked, thinking about the fact that, if I didn't make it, like, what would that mean for other people, And so while I tried to think about that in the past with my family and stuff, and like I said, being prepared, have life insurance and things of that nature, I did realize a couple of gaps there. But the biggest gap I was thinking about was, my clients in that particular one. Don't destroy your clients. Don't wait for a massive close call on your life to learn that lesson like I did. So I'm telling you now, so you don't have to do that. So, yeah, make sure you document things well, and that your clients have access to stuff, even if it's through an escrow account or something of that nature, should something happen to you, and that your spouse or loved one knows how to get into those things as well. So they could actually, if you don't actually have an employee or a virtual assistant or something that you trust, that you can transition this, should you not be around. You just want to make sure that someone has that and can give your clients what they need in order to continue to run their business, even if you're not there. Now, I will say this. Like I said, the Lord, He saved me. There's no doubt about that. And I think I'd probably be remiss if I didn't say this. Again, obviously I have a biblical content on this channel, right? I teach business principles from a biblical perspective. I don't teach just for Christians. So, everybody's welcome on this channel, but that's where my worldview is, and that's how I come about things. And doing, coming close to death, if you will, potentially. Obviously, like I said, I walking out without a scratch. It wasn't like, physically I was incapacitated, almost died in that perspective. But, obviously things could have gone all kinds of ways. And the only reason why they didn't, in my opinion, is because the Lord protected me. And so I'm very grateful to Him, very grateful to Jesus, my Savior. And I'll just mention this. I don't typically do this in my videos. But if you don't know for sure where you would go if you die, and you want to have a conversation about that, then hit me up. I'm happy to talk to you about that. So you can jump in the description of my channel, and my email is in there. So jump in and you can email me at any point. So anybody's always open to email me. And if I respond to you, I will. But definitely, if you want to have any kind of conversations about Christ, I'm here. And I would love to talk to you about it. So if you have questions, trying to understand like what it's all about, or even why you should care, happy to talk to you about it. I'm not here to be preachy or anything like that, but at the same time, obviously I feel that this is the right thing. It's kind of like, what I say is this: if somebody has cancer and you think you have a cure for cancer, then you probably should tell them, or at least let them know not force to cure down them. It's like, oh, you need to, take this, remedy here and open their mouth and shove it down their throat, obviously. But it's like, hey, I have this remedy if you're interested. And that's kind of how I'm feeling here. So again, I'm not trying to shove anything down anybody's throat, but obviously I live my life in this way based off what I believe. And if you're all interested in that, then, because for me, even though it came close, and that's when I was thinking about my family and again, my clients, I wasn't thinking about myself because it's like, if I'm away from here, then I'm present with the Lord. Like I'm in heaven and like life's good, So from that standpoint, I'm good. If you don't have that type of assurance, if you don't have that type of confidence, and it's not because I'm good, just to be clear, it's not because I'm good or I'm, a good person or anything like that. That's not what salvation's about at all. So if you want more information on that, you're interested at all, by all means, hit me up, shoot me an email. Again, it's in the channel description. You just go there, click on more, and then you click on the email. And I think you have to click a button saying that you're not a robot. And you can get the email and hit me up about this or anything else. I'm happy to help any way I can with that. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, good week, and I'll see you in the next video.